All right, excellent afternoon to all those who are watching me across the states in Nigeria. Many people say that they don't see tomorrow. The truth is that we have a clear picture and vision of tomorrow. Or will I say I have a clear picture, and a vision of tomorrow. If you want to look at our future, look at the condition and the position of our children in the society today. Again, I say welcome to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener and the chief host, Kike Atanda-Owo. And I think it's better for us to hear what On This Day in History segment has for us today. Stay with me. When I return, I will give my 2 cents on it before we get a word from my sponsor. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. Today's On This Day History segment reflects the colonization ideology of the Britain or the British and their scheme into African nation at the time in 1925, and a country, or would I say a century less, like a year ago. And the amount of artifacts, in the Webley Museum at that time shows that the amount of theft and loot of our treasures at the time. I hope this serves as an awakener to not only Nigerians but to Africans. And I like the fact that all the artifacts that have been stolen is being returned now. I think about last week I still saw how some stool has been returned to Benin Kingdom. Want to say thank you to the British, for returning our properties. But guys, it's time for a quick message from my sponsors. Let's get a word from them. When I return, I go straight to the main conversation. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. In celebration of the Children's Day, May 27th, my discussion will be about children and their robust development in this era. Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school children globally, with UNICEF, estimating over 20 million poverty and cultural resistance to Western education, in terms of contributing factors. And experts are arguing that parents, to ensure that their children receive not just basic education but also develop valuable skills to prepare them for the future. On the live show today, on the issue of what cuts across the importance of parental involvement in children's education, and my real talk will also include initiative and technological input to support parents with evidence-based and of course promoting positive children through the media platform that we all have embraced today. So recent news about pupils being bullied in school have dominated our social lines in the last few months, and of course the safety of children will also be looked into. For real comments from my guest today. So before I delve into conversation with my guest, I think it's important for us to play his profile, and when I return we'll be hearing from him. Stay with me, I'll be right back. All right, welcome to the show, Mr. Akinola. It's a pleasure to have you on Real Talk with Kike again today. How has business of parenting and society engineering been thus far?
Okay, thank you. So I was saying, thank you for having me here once again. It's always a pleasure. I do not take this for granted for having me on your exalted platform. So when we talk about, first off, you were asking about how is the business of parenting been so far. Well, we are still in the trenches. We are not going anywhere soon. Regardless of the challenges we are facing, we will continue to push uh, for the curriculum, the best curriculum in the best interest of our children that does not really do anything to improve the welfare of the children. That nation is heading for a doom. It's so interesting. 3 days ago, I stumbled on one of my publications I published in the Punch newspaper 2017. And the title of that publication is Any Nation That Neglects the Child Development of Its Citizens, or neglect the welfare of the children in that country.
So, Mr.
That country
Akinola,
is heading for
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, because I was trying to call your attention, interrupt your line of thought earlier, because yes, I know that you've tried to, keep me up to speed regarding the parenting, engineering and environment, because the Senate recently proposed, prosecuting negligent parents, but some argue for addressing the root causes. Putting that aside, I need to ask you, because I know that education is crucial. Talking about out-of-school children, Nigeria has the world's highest number of out-of-school children. What are some effective strategies beyond punishing children or parents punishing their children to address poverty and cultural barriers that keep children from attending school?
Okay, thank you, Ma. So let me go straight by answering that question this way. Okay, number one, I want government to know, I want parents and I want government to know that there are 4 agents of socialization around our precious children. The first one, the child themselves. The second, the parents. The third, the government, the school, and the government and media, then school. So there are 4. So I don't think it is really right, unless maybe we are just looking for a quick fix, for government to say they are going to arrest any parent who is not releasing their children to go to school. I don't know. If I see any publication like that, I think there is a need for us to respond to that, because government need to know. I'm not really supporting the government for saying that. I mean, I'm not against government for saying that, but government need to know some precipitating factors that could make any parent not to want to allow his or her child or children to go to school. There are many underlying factors. Socio-cultural effect is there. There are religious aspects of it. So I'm not holding fault or holding floor for any parent saying no to that. No, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we should move away from just mere, promulgating rules, regulations, or policy to enforce, or rather, let me put it this way. We should move away from enforcement to enlightenment. Let us enlighten the populace first. So when we move from mere enforcement into enlightenment, or when we start from enlightenment, then later enforcement, whatever policy that we want to drive at will be meaningful. The purpose, the objectives of that policy will be achieved when we enlighten. So I want to encourage the government that wants to do this. They should first of all enlighten our parents, the Society of Parents, PTA, PTF, they should go all out and enlighten them. So in enlightening them, it's not just to embark on any community engagement alone. No, this is when we are talking about enlightenment, this is what we mean. We want government to come out, to come up with educational approach into the area when we want, into, reducing out of the number of out of school children in our society. So when they want to do that, they need to come up with a roadmap. What is it? What kind of future does the government have for today's children? We have been celebrating May 27 from time immemorial. I remember back in the day when we were in school, we would go to the stadium, National Stadium, the governors would welcome us, we would give them salutation, we do the march past. What was the roadmap? What was the intention of doing that? Nobody knew. Well, maybe we knew, or it was not properly, explained to us. So government need to know. We want to know the target for the educational development they have for Nigeria children. So when this project is well thought out, when the project is well spread out, right, the parents will buy into that idea regardless of the educational attainment, even of the parents involved. So when they give us that, when they are doing the budget, when they say that, okay, so amount is dedicated or earmarked for educational development or for education in Nigeria, we don't want to stay at, we don't just want to hear 90 billion, 100 billion or 200 billion is earmarked for education. To achieve what? We want to know, okay, maybe in the next 10 years, we earmarked 100 billion naira to achieve so technology path, so educational development in Nigeria by year 2030. And this is the process why we are doing it. So when they do that, every money that the government is going to release into the educational sector is project tied. So what that means is, okay, let me give one example. India is known for a high technology country now with regards to the educational development that the children in that country has achieved so far, vis-a-vis the government's readiness to help them out. So we get to know that about 50 years ago, Indian government, they knew that by this time, 50 years after, they want to be the hub, the technology hub for any country in the world. So that has been part of their budgetary plan. And they add money, huge money for that, year in, year out. Every time the budget came out back in the day, right, that budget was tailor-made towards achieving a purpose in the educational sector. And their target is technology. So it is not out of place or ever wonder why what India is doing now, what India is achieving now, what they've achieved now in the world of technology is not something they planned or they started to do 10 or 20 years ago. It has always been there 50 years ago, even before many of us were born. And the result of their resilience is what we're seeing now. So we want to know, what does government, okay, ma'am?
Apologies, I have to interrupt your line of thought. I'm trying to manage time, but many thanks for that elaborate insights right there. But let me quickly touch on parenting now, because the parental involvement is equally crucial, and Lagos State emphasizes parental involvement, for student success. In this day and era, can you share practical tips that parents can use to be more involved in their child's education with even with their busy schedules? That's my first question to you because of time. My second question to you is the fact that, you know, I like the fact that you've cited example of India and so many other countries, but let me bring it back to the workshop by Oxford University that collaborated with Nigerian agencies to develop evidence-based parenting programs to address violence against children and improve overall parenting skills. What specific parenting skills do this program focus on, you know, and how can these programs help reduce violence against children?
Okay, thank you. The first question, let me handle it this way. You are asking that what parents support the educational system of their children. First of this, what the state government, you know, with respect to Lagos state government. So kudos to Lagos state government with everything they're doing in that aspect. So our own path as parents is this. For us or for any family to have a genius in its lineage, there are 9 different systems that every family must have in order for them to have educationally sound children, you know, coming out of that family. So one of those 9 systems, one of the 9 systems is educational system. So no nation, no individual, no family can excel beyond the educational development that is in operation in that family. So we want to know, when we draw this for parents, you know, as a consultant, when we draw this for parents, we want to know, we want to sit down with the parents, we want to ask them, what is the minimum, one of those, you know, assessment that we set is, what is the minimum, you know, educational qualification that you want for these children that you want to bring to this world, or the children that you currently have. The education you want to give them, what are you targeting? So we ask parents, what is the vision? So, you know, I want to beg every parent that gone were the days whereby we just send our children to school without any vision in mind, without any focus in mind. I want the children to be lawyers. I want you to be this. I want you to be that. Those thoughts, let it go. Now, what is the future? I mean, what is the economic future? So we tell parents, right? Even if any parent is watching now, we ask them, I want to challenge you. Just Google, what will economy of the world look like in the next 20 years? What will economy of the world look like in 2050? So when we look into that direction, we will be able to define what educational system we want to give our children. The line of thought that our children will go, then we will have it. So that these children will not just grow, I mean, they will not just graduate out of university and be jobless. So we need to know. So when we script educational system for each family, every family that will migrate or that will come, I mean, every child that will come out of that family would have a focus that this is the economic prospect that I want to meet in the next 10 years. This is the economic prospect I want to meet in the next 15 years, in the next 20 years. And I even want government to borrow lead from this. Government also can do their own. That, okay, in the next 20 years, this is what we want to achieve in our economic strategy or economic policy. So every child, every school, they will have that curriculum. There are some curriculums in some schools now that are really outdated. There are curriculums that are outdated that we can't even really rely upon now. So our own part there as parents, beside what the government is doing, let every parent come up with their own economic development that has that is futuristic in nature. That is about that aspect of what are parents doing in order for them to complement what the Lagos State government doing. We are taking Lagos State government as a perspective now. Now, coming to the second question, we're asking about the World Bank that is partnering with educational system or educational policy or educational body in Nigeria on how to reduce violence against the children or how to boost their education. If I really get that question right, this is what I have to say. I want to beg whoever that is coming with any intervention, whether international body or local bodies, I want to beg us that we should move away or migrate or traverse from just mere event to processes. Right from time immemorial, we have seen UNICEF intervention working in some sectors. We have seen many people coming to collaborate with indigenous body to bring out the best in education, to bring out the best in parenting, and to bring out the best in any organization that anyone is doing, right? But when we move from mere event to processes, we are talking about, okay, for instance, an organization came last year for an intervention and they left, they met with some people, they left. Then again, another organization comes, or that organization still comes, right? So we want to know, we want to review what has happened in the last 1 year or in the last 2 years that we've been having interventions. What has been happening? We want to know the progress. It is not just enough to say an organization is partnering another organization with the hope of bringing an end to bullying, with the hope of bringing an end to out of school, the number of out of school children in Nigeria. We want to know the process. And knowing the process is bring out a system-based approach, a system-based curriculum that will have the track of events, of the activities that they are doing. So without us having that system-based approach in everything we do, it's going to be a vicious cycle that is going to be difficult for us to track the success of whatever intervention that we are bringing or intervention that we are cutting as a nation or as an organization or as an NGO. So that is our own area of focus in our faculty or in our organizations, that away from events. We are tired of events in Nigeria as an educational consultant or as a body of educational consultants. We are tired of events. We want to move from events to processes. Moving from event to processes, we're saying, let us have the track record of what every organizational bodies are doing. Let us have track record of the community engagement. Are these people that we are intervening into, are they following the processes? Are they doing the right thing? Is the money that they deployed into these activities, into this body, is the money judiciously, channeled towards what they are doing? Is the money really project typed? We want to know. When we know, then we will have been so assured that in the next 5 years, this is what we want to target. And the track record will always be there. Let me say this, man. Let me say this before I round off this particular segment. I'm not going to mention the state. Something happened in a state 10 years ago when a governor was there, right? And it has, they employed them to script educational system for them because they discovered that they've been having serious drop in the WAEC result. So the governor gathered these people, and the educational consultant, they scripted out a nice policy for them, curriculum, and they made use of it. In that state came up from 20, I think they were in 22 before that governor got in, and they were 6th, right? When the WAEC result came out, 6th overall in Nigeria. Immediately that governor left, another governor came. And what did that governor, what did he do, right? The state government, they just discovered that a lot of money were being wasted on that project. So they jettisoned that project. In that year, that the result of that school, the YA, the total result of that school went from 6 to 22 back again. So I want to know, we want to advocate that regardless of the governor who is there, regardless of the president who is there, when we have a great educational policy, let it continue so that the traction can continue to gain momentum.
All right, many thanks for that. We'll go on a quick break because we are running out of time. When I return, the conversation will continue. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, glad to know you're still right there with us. In case you just joined the show, today's conversation is about the celebration of Children's Day on May 27th, and I've been turning attention to this crucial topic of child growth in this area and many issues, including children's safety, child bullying in schools, literacy, technology, gadgets, will also be touched on as I move forward to the next segment in terms of the influence in schools. And of course, what is more worrisome is about how many parents and stakeholders alike, can best manage how to raise their children, especially when it comes to their skills. And Mr. Akinola would the lead researcher rather and founder on a Parent Mark School of Parenting, has been giving us real talk about all of these issues, from the beginning of the show till this very moment. Again, I want to say many thanks for all your submission thus far. But let me quickly use this opportunity to open the phone lines. For those who would like to be part of this conversation, remember that the number to call is 081-188-88113, and it will be showing on your screen very soon. And of course, we're streaming live on Facebook, on Real Talk with Kike, and on Silverbird platform. So, Mr. Akinola, we are running out of time, and I want to quickly manage some of the perspective I feel that we should bring to fore. So let's go into students' well-being and success in schools. Bullying remains a serious issue in Nigerian schools, as we are seeing multiple stories cropping up here and there, even when it comes to some schools, some top schools in Abuja. We've seen some of these stories in the last few weeks. What steps can schools take, to implement stricter anti-bullying policies and encourage, better reporting mechanism? What's your advice on this?
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So when we're talking about bullying and other, forms of abuses in school, I think there is something I want to say, and this is something we've always believed in outside. If the schools want bullying to stop, the schools know what to do. I repeat, if the schools in Nigeria, in any state, if they want bullying to stop, they know what to do. And part of what they can do is for them to have what we call child safeguarding protection and policy, right? Every one of them knows. Even the state governments, the government know. The government instructed them, mandated them to have it. Government mandated them not to just have it, but to follow it through, to follow all the processes, right? But for any reason best known to them, why some schools are not, are not following this, we don't know. Because if they follow this, we shouldn't be hearing incidents of bullying year in, year out, month in, month out. And it's just because all those ones that we see on social media, because somebody was there to record, to film it, to record it, and posted it. What about those ones that are going underhand? Underline, under the, that are happening, but thrown under the carpet. What about those ones? We go to schools, we see what happens every day. All those things we can't be, it's not everything that we just be, say out there, that is not our job. Our job is to go to school anywhere we go and we see something that is not working well there, and we look for the appropriate quarter and report to them and let them know what they need to do right. And that is why we know that if the schools want this to happen, they know what to do. And the parents also know what to do. We can't continue to flog this issue. When this thing happened, the one that happened in Abuja about 3 weeks ago or thereabout, when it happened again, I was with my coach. My coach was asking me, here we are again, as if the one that happened in some schools, I don't want to mention names now, it's not enough. We get to have it year in, year out. So I will still say, if the schools want this thing to stop, right, the schools know what to do. We have some schools who are really enablers. We have some teachers who are enablers. We have some parents who are enablers, and we have some social media groups who are enablers. So there are many forces involved in this. But in particular, one of the agents of socialization around the children, which is the school, if they want it to stop, they know what to do to stop bullying and other vices, among the schools.
All right, I hear you, and many thanks for keeping it real with that question. Let me put that aside because we must give due credit, despite the challenges happening in most of these schools. Nigerian students achieve academic success. I feel that is something that I need to bring to fore. Can you share some recent stories of students excelling in national and international competition? That's my first question to you, because I feel that when you touch on media, I feel that sometimes we all need to take that ownership to say that we need to also, throw light on so many positivity that is coming from these children. So my next question now is that, a lot of people are of the opinion that there should be enough scholarship and mentorship programs available to support gifted Nigerian students. If not, what can be done, to improve these opportunities? For instance, now, they've opened the portal, for the educational scheme for Nigerians. As of today, some academia are saying that, they would have preferred a grant to a loan. What's your take thus far with these two questions? Quickly, in 2 minutes, because we are running out of time.
Okay, so I want to implore the government to do more, in supporting families, especially children with extra academic capability. I will continue to implore, implore government to do more in that area. But again, we applaud the loan that is being offered to them, to go to universities. We applaud the scholarship, but beyond that, we want government to have a clear-cut policy on how to develop educational system of Nigeria. That is what we want. And all these children that have extra skills, ability, education ability, skills, in excelling in everything they're doing, we can't say it was, that result came out as a result of what the government is doing. The parents' inputs are there. And let me say this also, it is only in Nigeria, I don't know of any other country whereby the sole responsibility of taking care of children, sole responsibility of parenting is rested on parents alone. Parents are not getting corresponding support from Nigerian government. Parents wake up in the morning, 5 a.m., they come back 10 p.m., they do all those things by their own strength alone. So we want a situation whereby government will respond more positively to the yearnings of parents. A lot of challenges parents are facing. Government should respond to them. Then the first one I earlier said, let us have clear-cut policy. How is government improving the welfare of the teachers? How is government improving the welfare of non-academic staff? I'm not talking about the university now. I'm talking about public schools. I'm talking about I'm talking about public primary schools and public secondary schools. We go to them, we see them, a lot of things that we see, we can't come here and be saying it. But it is not really good enough. We like what the government is doing, scholarship alone, we like it, but let us have a clear-cut educational policy that is futuristic.
All right, talking
about
future
educational policy is something one we want to give in the next 20 years.
Okay, many thanks for that. Looking to the future, because you mentioned the futuristic aspect of this particular situation at hand. With social media, artificial intelligence, with the ever-changing education landscape, what are some key trends that you see emerging in Nigerian education in the next 5 to 10 years? That's my first question. My last question to you on this platform quickly is that what message of hope and encouragement would you give to Nigerian parents who wants to ensure that their children receive the best possible education right here in the environment without not taking their children out of the country?
It's about the emergence of artificial intelligence and tech-savvy world and all, right? What can be done to make sure that our children are still relevant in the scheme of things to come? What I would say there is this: we work with some schools, private schools, who really have researched into the future. I did say the other time that if we just, enter the Google machine now and ask what is to come, what is the educational system, what will it be in the next 10 years? We have schools that we work for, and the results is really coming out. All big schools that we work with, they are ready, they are prepared to meet any AI challenge that the future will give them. So I want to encourage every parent, I want to encourage the government also to let us work in this direction so that our children will not just come out of school and be jobless. Then the second one, how can we make it nice or better such that the children can still school in Nigeria and still become better for it? There's something I want to say now. Whether we like it or not, people will still want to aspire to go out of Nigeria to go and study. When Nigeria was good, right, the way they say, when Nigeria was good about 40 years ago, 50 years ago, even 30 years ago, we had some eminent professors, eminent Nigerians who left the shore of Nigeria. Even when they still had scholarship here in Nigeria, they still went abroad to school, right? So the message of hope I want to give parents is this. That message of hope is that whether here, whether in Nigeria or abroad, define the educational system that you want for your children. It's not enough to just say you want your children to go to school in the United States of America or to school in United Kingdom. Why the United Kingdom? Why the United States? And you want your students to have the education.
Unfortunately, I have to interrupt your line of thoughts. I apologize. I have to interrupt your line of thoughts. Many thanks for all you have shared thus far, for providing solutions to all the issues at hand. But quickly, I have to move to the last segment of the show that we call Trending. These are trending stories that affect you and I as Nigerians, as Africans. And the first trending story that caught my attention is that of Handover Day and 365 days review of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. And as we mark the first anniversary of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration on May 29, I like the fact that this segment is where I have an opinion as a host. And I feel that I need to come forward with a comprehensive review that reviews a nation grappling with significant challenges across various sectors. In the realm of education, let me start from there. The landscape remains, fraught with difficulties. Strikes by university staff have disrupted academic calendars, further eroding the quality of education. For instance, the last ASU strike, left millions of students, stranded, further contributing to the 13.2 million out-of-school children in Nigeria, according to UNICAF. And the situation in healthcare sector mirrors the bleak reality right now. I feel that I need to also touch on that because numerous hospitals have shut down due to inadequate funding and resources, leaving many Nigerians without, essential medical services, even the ones that are here, you're still trying to say, you must seek second opinion. I'm talking from a place of experience now. So a report from the Nigerian Medical Association also indicates that over 60 public hospitals, have closed in the past year alone, so aggravating the already there health crisis in the country, Nigeria alone. So another thing I would like to touch on now is the economic conditions under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration that have been particularly distressing. The removal of fuel subsidy, from the first day of his inaugural of him coming into the office, while aimed at economic reforms, led to a sharp increase in fuel prices from 165 to over 650 per litre, according to the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. This hike has also cascaded into higher living costs for the average Nigerian today. Look at the inflation, for instance, that have soared to about almost 22% in April 2024 as a last month. So, and this was reported by the National Bureaus of Statistics, trying to just I'm also trying as much as possible to try to measure my thoughts because of the tension between the government and civil servants, especially as the discourse around minimum wage, adjustment continues without resolution right now. Yes, the NUC have given them the ultimatum of May 31st. So the cost of living has, has gone up, driven by inflationary pressures, and as also, in terms of the exchange rate that has also been seen as the naira fluctuates significantly. So with the official rate now eating over, will I say, 1,500 to $1, affecting both local and international businesses trade, I'm asking myself, is there ease of doing business in this country since May 29 last year? Moreover, the businesses environment have also suffered, with several organizations either shutting down or relocating their operation outside Nigeria due to unfavorable economic conditions and, unpredictable policies. For example, a report by the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria indicated that over 272 companies closed shop in 2023 alone. This exodus is a troubling sign of the lack of confidence that I feel that, foreign companies do not want to come here, based on also due to this current administration's ability to stabilize the economy. Again, I must touch on electricity tariff, which have been a point of contention for me, even in my home. I must keep it real on this platform. Increased bills, rising by 30% since January 2024, have not been matched by improved services, leaving many Nigerians to endure frequent blackouts and unreliable power supply. So the insufficiency or inefficiency rather, further amples economic productivity and the daily lives of citizens. So I'm asking myself again, this President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has also been criticized. Are we actually enjoying this administration? I'm asking in pain, because the approach to what they have brought to their own governance is something a lot of people are questioning. The appointment of numerous ministers as well, totaling about 42 ministers, compared to Buhari's administration that had 36 ministers, often seen as a strategy to compensate political allies, and all, and has led to concern about the growing cost of governance as well. So I'm asking again, all this approach appears to be extravagant with national economic healthcare. Is this the kind of life we should be living? I'm asking, because the economic instability coupled with rising living costs, inadequate public services, has also brought a lot of concerns in terms of the picture of Nigerians' immediate future. So as this administration moves forward, it is imperative to address these crucial issues with pragmatic and inclusive strategies, to restore stability and confidence amongst Nigeria. Because where we are today, quite a number of people are suffering and smiling and we're asking ourselves, what's next after May 29? Mr. Akinola, are you there? I don't know if you can quickly give your own submission to this trending story.
Okay, my submission is simple. You know, regardless of good intentions of the government, the ministers, the president, and, you know, all the three arms of government, regardless of their good intention about bringing succor, right, you know, to the economic situation of Nigeria concerning how people are faring, I think people are not feeling that good intentions yet. So the government and its team, they need to rejig, they need to still come together, go back to the drawing table and fashion out a more, you know, economic friendly policies that people will really feel that good things are really coming out from them. Because I'm part of it, I'm part of the citizens, everybody is part of the citizen that is listening now. We know how we're feeling. We know how the situation has turned out to be, right? So the good intentions are not enough. The good intentions must be people-oriented and must be friendly. So that's what I need to say.
All right, many thanks again for all your elaborate submission on the platform today. And of course, indeed, we had an awesome show, courtesy you, our resourceful guest, Mr. Akinola. Many thanks again for always honoring my invitation. I think this is where I draw the curtains of the show. Till I come your way next week, remember to be kind to one another and don't live beyond your means. Let me put it out there today. Thank you so much, and bye now.